Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, assalamu alaikum. Good evening, good night, or good morning to all of you. We are so pleased to have people at this meeting from all parts of the world in different time zones. I am Shakira Mohammed of Trinidad and Tobago, a teacher for the past 17 years. And ladies and gentlemen, this is our 276th edition of our ICC Thought Leaders Forum. We wish to sincerely thank all of you for contributing in whatever way to the success of this ongoing Pan-Indo-Caribbean and Pan-Indian Diaspora Global Project. For 275 unbroken continuous weeks, we have been here every single Sunday, and in the past 5 years and 4 months, we have featured 1,114 presenters from all parts of the world speaking on 275 topics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a weekly forum being hosted by the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center, legally registered and research publishing company operating since 2010. And like today, we often partner with the Amina Ghafoor Institute for the study of indentureship and its legacies, led by Professor David Davidale. Oh, please hold one moment. My screen seemed to have been stuck. All right, thank you. In order to continue this weekly program and to make it bigger and better, we are kindly asking for suggestions and volunteers. And if you give a donation, your name will be placed on our poster and all promotional materials, and you can contact Dr. Kumar Mahabir for details. So I'll introduce our moderator today, who is Shalima Mohammed, the co-director of this ICC Zoom platform, who is a business teacher and researcher from Trinidad and Tobago. She obtained her master's degree in business psychology from Franklin University in the USA. Shalima, welcome.
Thank you very much, Shakir. Assalamu alaikum, namaste, and a warm welcome to all of you. Thanks again for choosing to be here with us. Today's program, like all the others, is being recorded on Zoom and live streamed on the YouTube channel of the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center. A warm welcome to all of you on YouTube at this time. To avoid intrusions from trolls, our IT manager has muted everyone, so I appeal to the speakers, please do not admit anyone, do not unmute anyone, and do not allow anyone to share your screen. We really appreciate your cooperation. Today, we are interrogating the overseas citizen of India status. We are looking at the challenges and the benefits of applying for this card. The conversation emerged from an announcement by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he visited Trinidad and Tobago on July 3rd. He's also been visiting several other countries and talking about this particular status. And I'll share with you what he actually said when he was here, and I quote, "Today, I'm delighted to announce that OCI, Overseas Citizenship of India cards, will now be made available to the 6th generation of the Indian diaspora in Trinidad and Tobago. We are not only connected by blood or surname, we are united by a sense of belonging. India cares for you, India welcomes you, and India embraces you." Of course, there was loud applause when he said this, and so he urged nationals of Trinidad and Tobago to come to India, indicating that it was an opportunity for them to, I quote again, "visit the villages of your ancestors and walk on the soil they once walked. Bring your children and your neighbors. Invite anyone who enjoys chai and a good story." End quote. So an OCI card is a distinctive type of visa that allows individuals of Indian heritage to live and work in India indefinitely. But we need to know, does that equate to dual citizenship? What are some of the rights and privileges conferred on OCI card holders? And more importantly, how does a person of Indian heritage whose foreparents were indentures acquire this OCI card? Our esteemed panel of speakers will address these questions and more today. And I want to introduce you to, firstly, Ashok Ramsaran, who was originally from Guyana, now living in the USA. He holds many positions, and of course, he's no stranger to this platform. He holds many positions in civic and community organizations, including currently President of the Indian Diaspora Council and formerly past President of GoPio. He's the honorary patron of the Rupnuni Festival in Guyana and someone who is intimately familiar with the OCI status. We hope to have an historical perspective from Ashok. Welcome.
Thank you. Navin, I hope that you are in place to advance the slides. Okay. Let's have a moment of silence, as I usually do, for the starving and dying children and women and the young people in Gaza. It's a sorrowful, shameful, world complicit silence, all in the name of power, greed, and ethnic cleansing. And also for the victims and families of the Punjab, Pakistan floods, and Afghanistan earthquake. As Dr. Debiden mentioned previously, congratulations to the PVPC government, which has been re-elected, and congratulations to Ghanai's origin, David Lammy, who is now the Deputy Prime Minister of UK. My sincere appreciation and gratitude to ICC, Dr. Kumar Mahabir, Shalmin Mohammed, for this platform and to discuss the issues that confront all of us in the Indian diaspora. I will try to answer the questions and respond to your comments at the end of my presentation. I also want to, as Dr. David Debiden said, welcome Navin Narayan. I'm sorry, Nivan Narayan, who is next slide, please, who is a nephew of mine. And Yogesh, I just want to make a comment that our mutual friend, Jean Regis Ramsamy, is a member of Indian Diaspora Council, a good friend who has been with me from the inception when all of this started, and he's intimately aware of the process for obtaining OCI cards for Reunion Island French origin people. So you may want to confer with him, okay? So let's talk about this. The topics I will discuss is the OCI PIO scheme, how it started, and what does it mean? The benefits, the changing dynamics, where India has become more of a destination than previous. The criteria for qualification, alternate documentation, the application process, conversion from PIO to OCI, and the challenges faced by PIOs, the setbacks in multi-ethnic societies. Okay, next slide, please. In 2001, the government of India, under the prime ministership of Vajpayee, sent out a high-level committee, a commission, headed by Dr. Singhvi, to explore all the countries where Indians resided. And they came back after 2 years and produced a high-level committee report. I have a copy of that report. The cover is shown on that page. And it talked about the need for a PIO card scheme, which will embrace and engage the Indians living overseas. At that time, they did not define how many generations. So this was a very detailed report, and it identified the benefits and the need for this. Next slide, please. This is Dr. L.M. Singhvi, who was the architect of that report that convinced the government of India to start the OCI PIO card process. A great gentleman, he passed away recently, and I'm honored to have met him. Next slide, please. The Minister of Overseas Indian Affairs, Vala Ravi, visited India in visited Trinidad 2007 and met with then Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisasar and Shamsuddin, who is your local genealogist. And that matter was discussed with the press and with the people of the government, which is the OCI card. Next slide. please. So a person of origin means PIO. It means someone who is a foreign citizen, except those countries listed there, and who may at any time have held an Indian passport, and whose parents, grandparents, great-grandparents was born, permanently resided in India, or some definition of what it means according to the 1935 India Act, or who became a spouse or a citizen of India. Next slide. So PIO means person like us. Next slide, please. Next. Okay. Previous slide, I'm sorry. Previous, number 7. What are the benefits of a PIO card? And there are many benefits, which include acquisition, holding, transfer, and disposal of property, admission of children to educational institutions in India, and buying and selling property such as LLC and other government entities. So you become empowered and authorized to do those things. Next slide, please. Instructions on how to do this. I have to digress for a moment. Initially, it came that there was 2 cards, OCI and PIO. OCI means Overseas Citizens of India, and PIO means People of Indian Origin. People of Indian Origin, like myself and many of you on this program, are people with many generations outside of India. OCI is a recent Indian national who became a citizen of another country, and it's easier to get that. So they're easily called overseas citizens. And here are the procedures for applying for it. Next slide, please. The best place to get all these support and information is through your local High Commission office or consulate. And some of the benefits that are very readily seen here: separate lines at immigration counters, no visa required for studies, no visa required for travel, and at-par treatment with NRI matters. NRI means non-resident Indians, regarding property acquisition, holding, or disposal, except agriculture and plantation. Next slide, please. I briefly described to you what the application is and the procedure for it, and I'll talk more about the fees, which has changed a little since then. Next slide. And here's a tabulation previously of what the PIO card was cost and the OCI card. Later on, these two were merged to become the OCI card, and I'll spend a minute later talking about why this happened and what are the benefits and pitfall drawbacks. Next slide. Application fees. New OCI card outside of India is $275 US, and outside of India, it's $25 for converting a PIO card to an OCI. And here are the different costs related to this process. Next slide. How do you convert a PIO card? Because as I said previously, there were OCI and PIO. And PIO cards, many people from the Caribbean, South Africa, and other countries were able to obtain it. And since they have it, it's still valid, except you have to convert it to OCI, since the government decided to combine both of them. The reason for the conversion, why was it converted, is because many of the NRIs, what you call them, people who were born in India and became citizens of other countries, especially in the Western Hemisphere, their children wanted to become attached to India, and so they were fighting for this to be applied to their children. So if, according to the same formula, their children would have had to have a PIO card. So the Ministry of Home Ministry decided to combine them and call all of them OCI. Next slide. I wrote an article about this. What are the obstacles in obtaining the cards, and what is the difference way back then? And it was published in India Abroad, which is a national newspaper in the United States. And let's go to the next slide. So challenges for PIOs, people like us who were born generations afterwards. The Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs has been dissolved. So there is no direct contact except through your local embassy and consulate. And COVID-19 came around, and it's also a cumbersome application process. Remember this, India is surrounded by a lot of people who they view as potential adversaries. So they have to be careful with who they admit to give this PIO card or OCI, because then that person will have all the benefits and rights. And notably, 1948, when partition happened, many of these people switched sides back and forth, and they could have valid, authenticated documents to give them the OCI card. So there's a lengthy process because of that. Then there's the accessible information on the status of the application. When you file an application now, it takes you months to get information, what is the status of it. So your High Commissioner should be able to you should be able to put pressure on them. And the final thing that's always a problem, authentication of documents. How do you prove as a third, fourth, fifth, and sixth generation person of Indian origin that you have a direct linkage to someone born in India? In my meeting with then Minister Sushma Swaraj, we were able to get something called authentication of alternate documents, which is done by your local High Commissioner, consulate, or local religious leader within the country where you reside. Because many of these documents are missing. The French colonies like Reunion Island, where Yogesh is from, there are no records, or very little, if any. And so you have to produce alternate documentation, which can prove your heritage. And then there's among the younger generations now, there's a trending disinterest, mobility, and other factors, which should take another session to do. And also the increased fees. Like, why should you go and get an OCI card unless you have other reasons other than travel? Next slide, please. When I met with then Minister Sushma Swaraj in New Delhi in 2016, I proposed the use the acceptance of alternate documents, and it was readily accepted, and a resolution was passed in 2017 in Trinidad, where we had the Convention on Abolition of Indian Indentureship, and it was given to the ministry, and which is the basis for the government of India to accept alternate documents. Next slide, please. Setbacks. Dissolution of Ministry of Indian Overseas Affairs, so there's no direct contact except through your local embassy or consulate. The trending disinterest, which I just mentioned, authentication. Then the final thing is the perception. Especially in countries with multi-ethnic societies like Trinidad, Guyana, Suriname, and other places, if you have an OCI card, many people other than Indians would view that as being split nationality, like a question of national loyalty. And sometimes that's a fearful thing. The OCI means that you're overseas citizen of India, or at least it denotes that. Whereas the PIO card was more not as threatening to other people. So there is a perception that dual citizenship of OCI is also a split national identity, and that can be a problem in many of these countries where Indians are less than 50% of the population. Next slide, please. So I think I'm on time. Yes, and so I summarized all the benefit, the inception, the benefits, the processes, expectation, and improving the system, which your different organizations, such as in Reunion, can get to the Ministry of External Affairs to put that in place so that the process can be streamlined and be much more easily accessible. Next slide, please. At this point, I think I've concluded per Kumar this morning. I'm on time. So any questions or so, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, terrific. Thank you very much, Ashok. Very, very informative. Would you mind holding on until the other presenters have spoken and then we can take questions? Is that okay?
I will not promise you completely, but I'll be here for a while.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going on to our second speaker now, and this is Babita Bahadur from Mauritius. She's an historian and heritage professional. She serves as the regional coordinator of the Indian Ocean Committee for the Indentured Labour Route Project. Babita is very late in Mauritius right now, so we really thank you for being with us. Welcome.
Thank you, Shalima. Okay, I'm going to share my PowerPoint.
Sure.
You tell me if it's okay. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, it's visible to us.
Okay.
Babita?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. I'm just not able to see my screen. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. So I'm Babita, and Shalima has already given you a brief introduction. So this is my second time on this forum. Before I start with my presentation on the challenges and benefits of the OCI card, I would like to thank Dr. Kumar Mahabir for inviting me on this platform. I also wish to congratulate the entire team of the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center for their unfailing efforts and motivation in organizing the Thought Leaders Forum each Sunday, with special thanks to Dr. Shakira Mohammed, chairperson, and Dr. Shalima, moderator of the ICC Forum. To set the stage, let's start with the fundamentals. What exactly is an OCI card and why does it matter? I know Mr. Ashok Ramsaran has already given us a brief introduction, so I have also prepared in my presentation that the Overseas Citizenship of India scheme was introduced in 2005 through an amendment to India's Citizenship Act of 1955. This wasn't a random policy change. It was a direct response to long-standing demands from the Indian diaspora, which numbers over 30 million people worldwide. And events like the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, India's annual celebration of its overseas community, highlighted the need for a mechanism that allowed people of Indian origin and descendants of Indian immigrants to maintain strong ties to their homeland and ancestral roots in India. India, after all, does not permit dual citizenship under its constitution. Instead, the OCI card serves as a form of permanent residency, granting holders the right to live, work, and travel in India indefinitely. As of 2025, over 5 million individuals hold OCI cards, a testament to its popularity and utility. This number has grown steadily since the scheme inception, with more than 5.2 million cards issued overall by mid-2025. The High Commission of India reveals that there are 13,198 OCI card holders in Mauritius now. In 2005, the Government of India implemented a People of Indian Origin card scheme in view of providing several benefits to people of Indian descent residing outside India. Any person holding the PIO card could benefit from free visa travel to India, seek employment, or study without a student visa over a period of 15 years. However, the PIO card scheme was limited to only the fourth generation. The younger generations were not eligible for the PIO card during that time. During the International Bharatiya Divas held in 2012, it was decided that the PIO card scheme would be extended up to the fifth and sixth generations. The scheme came to an end on 9th January 2015. During the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas 2017 held in Bengaluru, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, proposed that PIO card holders convert their cards into Overseas Citizenship of India card. It should be noted that not only people who are born in India have access to the OCI card, but people of Indian descent residing abroad are also eligible. A special carve-out for OCI cards for Mauritian nationals with Indian lineage, traceable up to 7th generation, was announced during the state visit of President Draupadi Murmu in March 2024 in Mauritius. Eligibility for an OCI card is broad but specific. I'm going to place emphasis more on the eligibility and application for Mauritian citizens. As you can see on the slide, any Mauritian citizen 18 years or above who is a descendant of an Indian immigrant who came to Mauritius from India, either as an indentured labor or as a free passenger, could also apply for this OCI card. Other criteria, other people eligible were the spouse of an Indian, is a spouse of an Indian passport or OCI card holder who is eligible for the OCI card after 2 years of marriage, a minor child whose both parents are citizens of India, or one of the parents is a citizen of India, or at least one of the parents has renounced his Indian citizenship is eligible for OCI card. A child born out of life in relationship, IVF, surrogacy will be eligible for OCI card only if at least one of the parents is a citizen of India. The application process for Mauritian citizens is more or less the same. Before, when there used to be the PIO card, and now after its conversion into the Overseas Citizens of India, what has evolved significantly is the online application process and the new card schemes compared to the PIO, which was limited to only the fourth generation. If a citizen of Mauritius wishes to obtain the Overseas Citizens of India card, he or she must first of all trace one's ancestral roots through birth, death, and marriage certificates of their great-grandparents that would establish the lineage to the original immigrant from India, whether the latter was an indentured laborer or a free immigrant from India. This can be done by starting to collect the great-grandparents' birth, death, marriage certificates, as you can see on my slide, which can be retrieved from the civil status in Mauritius. And now we have facilitated this process of obtaining the birth, death certificate, marriage through online services known as the MoCloud service that many Mauritians can use. Once you have been able to trace the immigrant number, you have to contact the Indian Immigration Archives, which is based at the Mahatma Gandhi Institute in Mocha in Mauritius for indentured laborers, and the National Archives Department at Coromandel for free passengers coming to Mauritius. After all these procedures have been carried out, You will receive a certificate on which details of your forebear will be mentioned, such as name, age, origin, name of father, mother, name of kin accompanying the indentured laborer, port of embarkation, any physical signs, marks, and even a picture, if the person can be obtained if available. The immigrant certificate or archival document proving the applicant's ancestral origins are important in order to apply for the OCI. As you can see, there is a link here where we can apply for the OCI card. It's the High Commission of India online portal. Here's a website of the High Commission of India for Mauritius and how we can apply and what are the services, consular services that are being provided for the citizens of Mauritius. We must know that may it be in Mauritius or other Indian diaspora, the process of tracing the ancestral roots is essential in order to apply for the OCI card. The application is now done via the High Commission of India online portal and required documents such as applicants' photographs, birth certificates, ancestors' archival documents obtained from either the Mahatma Gandhi Indian Immigration Archives or the National Archives Department of Mauritius. And the other relevant documents should be sent to the office of the High Commission of India. So now we will turn to the benefits, which are substantial and multifaceted. We'll break them down into categories for clarity, starting with travel and residency perks. The cornerstone of the OCI card is its lifetime multiple entry visa, allowing holders to enter India unlimited times without the hassle of repeated visa applications. OCI holders can stay in India indefinitely without registering with local police authorities. This flexibility is especially valuable for relocating retirees, part-time, or families maintaining dual homes. And it extends to spouses and minor children, making it a family-oriented benefit in a world where global mobility is key. This alone has drawn millions to apply. Moving to economic advantages, OCI holders enjoy near parity with non-resident Indians in financial matters. They can open bank accounts, invest in stocks, mutual funds, or other securities, and purchase non-agricultural property, like residential homes or commercial spaces without restrictions. For instance, an OCI holder from Mauritius might invest in Mumbai real estate to secure a retirement nest egg or start a business venture. They can also work in India without a separate employment visa, except in sensitive sectors like defense, atomic energy, or research, where special permissions are needed. Inheritance and asset transfers are seamless, free from the complications of foreigners often faced. Educationally, the benefits are equally compelling. OCI holders qualify for NRI quotas in schools, colleges, and professional courses, paying the same fees as NRIs and accessing competitive exams like NEET for medicine or GEE for engineering. They are even eligible to teach at elite institutions such as ITs or IIMS, attracting global talent back to India. Additionally, there are niche benefits for professionals like chartered accountants. A special scheme allows OCI holders to practice in India. And in 2025, updates have made adoption processes easier for OCI holders interested in building families through Indian adoption agencies. Overall, these advantages foster a sense of belonging, encouraging cultural, economic, and intellectual exchanges between India and its diaspora. So, what are the challenges? However, no scheme is perfect. And the OCI card comes with notable challenges that potential applicants must weigh carefully. Let's examine these in depth, beginning with the restrictions on rights and entitlements. For most, OCI is not citizenship. It's a visa scheme, so holders lack political rights. They cannot vote in Indian elections, contest for public office, or hold constitutional positions like president, prime minister, or Supreme Court judge. This can be frustrating for those deeply invested in India's democratic process. Government jobs are off limits, and even private professions in certain fields may require approvals. Property ownership, while liberalized, excludes agricultural or plantation land, limiting options for rural or farming investments. Moreover, the status is revocable. It can be cancelled for criminal activities, fraud, or actions deemed against India's interests, leading to a potential entry bans at airports. Real-world cases like those involving political activism abroad highlight this vulnerability. Challenges for Mauritian citizens. Another layer of challenges for Mauritian citizens involves archival documents access and errors in name made in archival records during the colonial times. I have noticed that many descendants of Indian immigrants residing abroad who were born in Mauritius have some difficulties in tracing their origins in Mauritius due to death of relatives and the difficulty in looking for information on their great-grandparents. Having stayed for so long time abroad, it was quite difficult for them to trace back their roots in Mauritius, especially that they came in Mauritius for a very short, limited time stay in Mauritius, and looking for related information, especially when they have no relatives directly linked with the lineages, became very difficult for them to search for these archival documents or get access to even the civil status office without proof. There's also a sad reality that many archival documents records containing important information on the arrival of Indian immigrants in Mauritius during the 19th century have been damaged, have become fragile or are missing, thus rendering the search for ancestral roots difficult. Recently, I have met a lady from South Africa visiting the Aprabasigat World Heritage Site who told me that she cannot trace her ancestral roots in South Africa as per hearsay. Her ancestor was working in Mauritius as an indentured laborer and migrated to South Africa during the late 19th century. She was wondering as to how to trace her great-grandparents in Mauritius, which is quite challenging and time-consuming, as well because of similar names and uncertainty of year in which the indentured laborer migrated to Mauritius or left Mauritius. And we need to go to the archives at the National Archives Department, to search for records of those immigrants who left, but they were free passengers. Whereas at the MJ Archives, we have records of the indentured laborers, mostly. So to tie this together with a perspective, think of the OCI card as a sturdy bridge with guardrails. It connects the diaspora to India's vibrant culture, economy, and opportunities, but the restrictions ensure it doesn't grant unchecked access. For an entrepreneur in Mauritius visiting India quarterly, the benefits far outweigh the challenges. The seamless entry and investment rights are invaluable. Conversely, for an activist or journalist, the permission requirements might feel stifling. Hypothetically, consider a family. Parents with OCI cards can send their child to an Indian university under NRI quota, but if the child wants to enter politics later, they'll hit a wall. Compared to schemes like, let's say, the US Green Card, OCI card offers more travel ease, but fewer political rights. Looking ahead, with the new portal and simplified rules, the scheme is evolving to be more user-friendly, potentially attracting even more applicants. In conclusion, the OCI card remains a powerful tool for over 5 million global people of Indian origins, offering lifelong access, economic empowerment, and educational opportunities that strengthen ties to the homeland. Yet its challenges, limited rights, permissions, and renewals remind us it's not a substitute for full citizenship. If you're in the diaspora, assess your needs. Do you prioritize mobility and investments or political engagement? So once again, this is the end of my presentation about the challenges and benefits of the OCI card, taking the case study of Mauritius. Once again, thank you to the Leaders Forum Organizing Committee for this wonderful platform.
Thank you very much, Babita. Another very informative presentation. And
Thank
we
you.
have a number of questions in the chat. So before I call on our next speaker, I'd like us to deal with some of these questions. And one of them in particular, in regard to the alternative documents, keep popping up. So may I ask, Ashok, can you please respond to that question? And then perhaps Babita, you can add to it?
Yes, thank you. I saw 3 questions on the same subject from Chris, Ramesh, and Dinesh. It must be said that Mauritius is a special case. They have taken great pains to document all the arrivals, and it's one of the outstanding records in the archives that other PIO countries should copy. They're the best in terms of going back and finding records. But let's go back to the 6th generation thing, which is approximately 120 years. So in the British system, a ship that came after 1860 had 1 page per laborer. It was called an emigration pass. And it listed all the details of the village and the district, the age of the person and all that. It came with the ship and it was deposited in the country of destination. So, for example, Shamsuddin in Trinidad would have knowledge of all those ships and all those records. And if you do not have your family records, you can always look, and there are alternate ways of finding it. For example, the marriage certificate of your parents. They usually have something there that can say what are their parents' name, and if they came on a ship, what is the name of that ship and the date, if you're lucky. Then there are other things such as family death records, which would show a grandfather or great-grandfather when they passed away and what is the name of the ship that they came on. So there are alternate documents, and you have to go and do some research in the archives if you do not have the direct emigration pass. But it is painstaking, especially since names have changed and locations have changed and names are spelled differently. So you have to do a lot of legwork on this with your own archives. And I wish there was another way, but it's painstaking. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ashok. Babita, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, with regard to documents, alternate documents in Mauritius, they can also check the land deeds at the archives. Also, because many of the former indentured laborers also had the right to purchase land, and they had their immigrant number on these properties, especially women who had the ability to purchase land in Mauritius. So through these land deeds, if the descendants of any indentured laborer in Mauritius can have access, they get a number. And with this number, they can go to the MGI archives, or if his ancestor was a free passenger, the National Archives Department, we have the records in the Z2 series, which has a list of arrivals of free passengers, the years, the name of the ships, and also at the MGI, we have been able to preserve some of the records with the immigration passes and the records. We are very fortunate, our archives, to do the research, etc. But we are very sad also because there are so many people coming from South Africa or other diaspora trying to search for their ancestors here because they transited from Mauritius to go to other colonies during that time, which is quite difficult because we need to work on probability to calculate the year as per the age they came, what document they have, and it's very time consuming as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm seeing Dr. Chris Rampasad and Dinesh from Trinidad are still asking when questions about when none of those documents are available. It's a painstaking process, unfortunately. But as Ashok said, you really will have to get your parents' birth certificates, follow up with their parents' birth certificates, and keep going up the line. So ultimately, what you want to do is to have all of those documents taken to the archives, and then you're going to have to check with the ship's register or the general register in order to be able to get your particular family's documents. And it helps that you all, or at least Dr. Chris Rampasad, at least it may be in the Princestown estate. So knowing the estate that they were affiliated with also helps because you could check the records for that particular estate. If need be, of course, you contact us and we will get further information for you all from Shamsuddin. So thank you all very much. I want to bring our next speaker now, and this is Marlon Padiachi, who is an award-winning South African journalist with over 40 years' experience in frontline reporting, diplomacy, and media strategy. His advocacy for OCI status reflects his commitment to strengthening diaspora ties while also working as a media consultant and freelance writer. So Marlon is going to be speaking to us despite the fact that he has technical difficulties. And if anyone has issues hearing him, please just put a message on the chat. Thank you. Marlon, welcome.
Well, thank you, Shalima. Thank you. Sorry about the hiccups.
We understand. Go ahead, please. We'll have your presentation brought up.
Okay, ahead of the G20 summit, one of the questions in South Africa is, will India escalate issuing of the OCI to 35 million Indians worldwide and South Africa's 1.4 million community? And so also on the G20 is, it's interesting that the OCI will come up within the Indian missions and within the Prime Minister, Modi. So the Indian mission in Pretoria is Flex. Flex is a diaspora muscle aid of the PM Modi's visit. And India's Prime Minister is expected to play a central role in the G20 summit. And I attended the first India PIO Connect conference in Pretoria on the 25th of August. And it was hosted by the High Commissioner Prabhat Kumar. And the aim is to celebrate contributions, reconnect with the ancestral land and roots that stretch back to 135 years of indenture arrivals in Durban in 1860. So just a bit of background, Durban is the hub of the diaspora. Durban is home to 60% plus of South Africa's Indian origin population. From cane fields and satyagraha to anti-apartheid struggles, Indians, their role has been outsized in shaping a national life. And so the political recognition was the high honor for Les Pubalan Govender. He's an IFP Member of Parliament and Deputy Chair of the National Council of Provinces. And he was highly recognized by the Indian Commission with a shawl, and other honoraries were anti-apartheid activists with a long history with Mahatma Gandhi, is Prema Naidu and Mohan Ira. They were awarded the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman. So Govender, surprisingly to me, Govender in his opening speech called for urgent simplification of the OIA processes. The main frustration here is South Africa's demand for unabridged birth certificate requirements. And he told the conference that we are Indian, we look Indian, we've been here for 165 years, and I don't see why India cannot grant the OCI to Indians in South Africa. And he further told us that he was engaging with South Africa's Home Affairs to remove barriers. So that takes us, most of the speakers at the conference, although the OCI played its role and was discussed widely, most of the speakers looked to trace back the 1860 route and went back to Gandhi's 1893 Pietermaritzburg train incident and thereon to Satyagraha that inspired his own belief in Satyagraha and the successful realignment of South African politics in the resistance movement. Gandhi's philosophy is still relevant to SA democracy and India's roles. The voices of Dr. Rajendran Govender and David Gengan came through on the Gandhi issue. But beyond identity and business culture, most of the speakers and panelists are looking for economic opportunities in India over and above the OCI. The OCI will facilitate their in and out, entry and exit out of India, with lesser visa hassles that many PIOs are experiencing in South Africa. And many South African professionals in Indian multinationals are working in Indian multinationals. So from the health partnership with South Africa, India was described as a pharmacy of the world. And then we moved on to arts and culture Durban figures in arts and media, Fakir Hussain, Klije Govender, Mahendra Raghunath, A.B. Musa, plus first female world cricketer and the male golfer in the footprints of Indian golfing legend pauper Siu Sankar Siugalam, who collected his trophy in the rain because of the apartheid laws that barred non-whites from a whites-only clubhouse that hosted the losing golfer, Gary Player. So just a second. There we go. And then onto the diaspora reach 35 million PIOs across 100 countries. And this was mentioned by the High Commissioner to the point that PIOs and NRIs, host countries celebrated the International Day of Yoga on 21st June 2025. South Africa's community, in a nutshell, is forged in hardship, anti-apartheid struggle, and now integrated across society of a population of 64 million, of which majority are Black Africans. So what is it about OCI? It's more than paperwork, it's bureaucracy or a recognition of belonging to the so-called motherland, the ancient land of the East. So the timing is strategic ahead of Modi's Johannesburg visit. There will be more and more conferences across South Africa on the PIO Connect and the diaspora as the bridge between New Delhi and Pretoria. The stakes are global economic power meets historic diaspora ties. So on a personal note, since reporting on Mandela's 1995 India state visit, standing at Gandhi's shrine in Ahmedabad, and my current role in the Media Council of Gopi International. So this is a story of reflection, a diaspora story about the future and not just the past. So in my closing thoughts are, the Pretoria conference has a new agenda and it's going to spread across the country where more and more people of Indian origin in South Africa will get to know about the OCI access, celebrate contributions, address the frustrations of the OCI access, expand cooperation, trade, high-tech, healthcare, and culture. So my final question is, will India finally open OCI floodgates to 35 million PIOs across the world and 1.4 million people of Indian origin in South Africa? I thank you.
Thank you, Marlon. Before you go, let me ask this.
Okay.
If South Africans of Indian descent should provide a list of signatures of persons who are interested in getting OCI status, having those cards, do you think that will put pressure on the Indian High Commission and the Indian government?
Signatures as in a petition?
As in a petition?
Yes, I think, but that would be quite a mammoth task. But if it's online and it's got easy access online, I think it will work. It's worth giving it a try. I think that should be the shift. It's been in discussion for what, 10, 20 years, OCI, I'm not absolutely sure, but it's been a long time running, and my own visa hassles are quite frustrating to go to Gopi International conferences in India, and there just seems to be no way that some relief can be provided to us. So I'll agree with you, Shalima, that pressure online could force the Indian High Commission, the Indian government, and the South African Department of Home Affairs to relook the OCI.
Yeah, great. Because it seems to me that a few voices in the wilderness isn't having the impact that it ought to. So who is a likely candidate, or what organization is a likely candidate to spearhead that petition?
There's quite a few organizations. One of your organizations in Verulam, that the Indian diaspora, 1860 Indian diaspora, at which you attended the conference with Dr. Kumar, that could be one of the credible bodies. The 1860 Heritage Center, the political parties, well, the Natal Indian Congress that Gandhi founded is no longer relevant, nor is it active. So, unfortunately, we don't have too many national Indian organizations, because we have sort of, co-opted into the national psyche of the country of non-racialism and social cohesion. But this attempt is worth every Indian of every South African of Indian origin should lobby, and we should maybe market and get more publicity on the issue.
Excellent. So Marlon, do you think you can draft something by way of the petition, and then we can ask persons in the 1860 who are here and some persons in the politics who we know to follow up?
Yeah, I'm sure I can do that. Having attended the conference, and I'll continue to liaise with the High Commission and the IFP MP and the Department of Home Affairs. I could put something together that could fast track the sort of stalemate or where we are at the moment.
Excellent. So we'll follow up for that. Kogi, Nash, take notes.
I will follow up, definitely.
Excellent, Marlon. Thank you very much.
Shalima, this is Ashok. May I add one point to this, please?
Yes, Ashok, no problem.
You have to take into account the security interests of India. And that's where the Home Affairs Ministry comes in, the one that issues passports and OCI cards, because they're very, very concerned about threats to Indian security. And that's why the cautiousness and the trepidation and the slow process of these cards. So any drafting of any petition should be done with that in mind. How do you make their curiosity and how you alleviate their sense of security to be in line with your request? Okay, thank you.
Point well taken. Thank you very much, Ashok. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we want to move on now to our next speaker. We should have had Satyendra Pirtham of Mauritius adding to this conversation. Unfortunately, he was unable to attend today. And so we move on now to Pete Roderick of Trinidad. He's a mediator and operations manager in an energy-based company here in Trinidad. He holds 2 master's degrees and is part of a team assisting citizens of Trinidad and Tobago of Indian descent in obtaining their OCI cards. We have a pre-recorded presentation from Pete, and I'll ask Navin to bring that now, please. Hopefully we can get some answers here from Pete.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pete Roderick, and first of all, I'd like to say thank you.
Navin, can we adjust the volume up? Thanks.
About OCI, the benefits and the challenges. So, the OCI card, Overseas Citizen of India card, allows a person to do exactly what you do right now in Trinidad and Tobago. You are allowed to get a job, you are allowed to work, live, purchase a house, you're entitled to specific benefits when you're in India. There is no
We could barely hear him, Navin.
limitation as to how long you can stay.
Can you assist, please?
Basically, even from the minute you get to the airport, when you arrive
You're
at
not
the
hearing
airport
clearly.
in India, you are not joining the visitors line, you're joining the citizen line. And
Is that better?
Navin, can you increase the volume? Maximum?
It's at maximum here on my side.
Home,
Oh,
and it's your first time with your OCI card.
so we
It's
can
But
barely
this
hear.
isn't, okay, can we do anything in terms of subtitles?
experience.
No,
Let me try to play it from my side. Okay, Navin?
Okay, no problem.
Everything that you
Hold on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, in the interim, okay, it's coming in quickly then, thanks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pete Roderick, and first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the
Is it any
invitation
better?
to speak on this
No,
forum
not
about
really.
OCI,
No.
the benefits and the challenges.
I'm hearing it louder.
So,
Are
the
you, Shakira? Are
OCI
you also hearing
card,
it?
Overseas Citizen of India,
But a little bit louder, yes.
That's
allows a person
Okay,
to do exactly what you do right now in Trinidad and Tobago. You are allowed to get a job, you are allowed to work, live, purchase a house, you're entitled to specific benefits when you're in India. There is no time limitation as to how long you can stay. It starts basically even from the minute you get to the airport. When you arrive at the airport in India, you are not joining the visitors line, you're joining the citizen line. And it's a very interesting experience when you are there and the officer says, "Welcome home." And it's your first time with your OCI card. It's a very nice experience. So, as I said, you're allowed basically to do everything that you can do in Trinidad and Tobago. The exemptions would be you're not allowed to vote in the general elections, and the second key point would be you're not allowed to own agricultural land. You're allowed to own residential or residential property, house and land, but let's, for example, say acres of land for planting rice or doing corn or something like that. You're not allowed, you're not permitted at this point in time to own agricultural land and vote in their general election process. You reach to India, you can, as I said, start to work, you can open up your bank accounts, get a car, get your driver's license, do everything you can do in Trinidad, you can do in India with the opportunities that may not necessarily be available right now in Trinidad and Tobago. There are two main types of people that apply. Young persons are expressing more and more interest because of the opportunities and advancements that are not present right now. And I have been getting a few queries from people who actually want to retire. In India, the healthcare system, they are looking at housing markets, they're looking at other factors to make that decision. And they reached out to me to ask about the OCI process as well. So the benefits may be a bit long to get into, but I hope I will be invited back to the forum once more where we can go into some more details. Having said that, the challenges that present themselves now, this conversation is being had specifically with the knowledge that the person who is applying has a valid Trinidad and Tobago passport, and the linkage, that family tree history can be shown, tying you back to Indian roots, your great grandfather or grandmother that came on the boat, and showing that linkage, that documentation. A lot of people would say, well, you know, Pete, the Indian High Commission has already said they're aware that the Indians from Trinidad are descendants, so why are they making this difficult? I tell them the same, I give them the same explanation all the time, which is, in order for something to be issued, there must be documentation. In order for you to get, let's say, your passport, you need to provide a document stating who you are, which is your birth certificate. So in order for you to get an OCI card, there are certain documents that the process requires that you present to the Indian High Commission. Birth certificates, death records, land ownership, these are some of the things that are able to be used as proof that create that link that is required. Another part that is now part of the process are some legal paperwork. So sworn affidavits, declaration statements, which essentially now when the documents are compiled and put into a folder and sent off to be validated in India, the Indian side can say, oh, okay, well, where is the proof? Oh, here we go. This is a sworn declaration saying that applicant Pete Roderick, his great-great-grandfather came from India, and this is the declaration saying that this person validated what it is he said, etc. So there are formats to follow, there are affidavits to be done, but all of this is what we are able to walk you through the process and file for you once, as I said, the linkage, the Indian heritage linkage can be made and you hold a valid Trinidad and Tobago passport. Quite a few of my clients now live and work out of Trinidad, but they were born in Trinidad. Some of them have given up their Trinidad passport, and in cases like that, the application is stopped, the process stops, because the golden ticket is the Trinidad and Tobago passport once the linkage to India has been proved once that has been proven, the next valid form. So it's really two key things: the linkage to India through the family tree history and the correct documents, and two, your valid Trinidad and Tobago passport. That's your golden ticket. One of the customers slash clients said to me, well, I hold a UK passport, that should carry more weight. Well, in this case, it really doesn't, because then the benefit is extended. The Overseas Citizen of India card benefit is extended to holders of Trinidad and Tobago passports. The process can be done out of Trinidad, but to date, and I have been dealing with applications for the past 2-3 years, I have not heard of anyone who has been successfully issued an OCI card out of Trinidad. The 2 cases that I know right now, they're actually still pending, and that's going on 2 years, because it's so difficult for them to really create that easy connection for information sharing. I will also say that at some point, for people who are living out of Trinidad that wish to apply, you will be required to make a physical face-to-face visit to Trinidad, to the Indian High Commission, to validate your documents in front of the Indian High Commission officer, the submission officer, and sign the necessary relevant documents. At that point in time, yes, I will be with you in the room, but I won't be able to sign those documents on your behalf. You will have to physically be there to present yourself. All the work, all of the necessary files and forms will be filled out, and I will, as I said, I will be there, but please note that you will be required to physically be there at that point in time when the officer has his final interview with you. At that stage, what I would tell most customers, the process is completed at that stage, because we, meaning my team and myself, we have a very professional rapport with the officers. We are able to now say, okay, you can now come to Trinidad because your application has been sorted, it has been vetted, and it is ready for submission. There are no hiccups in the system, and you are basically just ready to sign in front of the officer and for him to advise you, okay, your process is going to be completed in 4 months, 5 months. The longest I've heard for Trinidad is 6 months, and then you will be collecting your OCI. Having said that, I have said that 1 visit is required. There are some times that the Ministry of Legal Affairs, for document submission, for the application forms for submission of documents and even the collection, they can be very strict and other times very forgiving with the application process and the collection process. Some clients have actually said to me, you know what, I'll just come to Trinidad because I'm visiting my friends and family anyway this year. I will make the application when I come in, we can go in together. And at that point, we go in together and we get the necessary birth certificates and death records and land deeds, etc., that show the linkage. So I would just like to summarize and say, if there are any questions or concerns where the OCI application process is concerned, I'm sure you guys can reach me on this forum and I can help you understand it a bit better. I look forward to working with anyone who is interested. and we will be in touch. I now hand you over back to the presenter. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.
All right, so that was Pete Roderick presenting on Trinidad, and to our audience, if unfortunately he's not here. So Dinesh, we'll put you in touch with him, and Chris Rampasad as well. Dr. Chris, of course, if you need it, we will put you in touch with him, and hopefully you can get some further assistance. At this point in time, we want to ask Dr. Eubulus Timothy of South Africa to share with you his experience in having acquired the OCI card. Dr. Timothy, are you able to unmute your mic?
Give me a minute. Let me find him to unmute.
Sure. Eubulus Timothy, and he could probably turn on his video as well.
Navin, are you finding him?
I clicked on ask to unmute.
Okay. So
The
do
video
that.
is giving some difficulty.
Okay, I think I'm seeing it blinking, so he may have clicked once too many times. Dr. Timothy, can you unmute your mic, please?
I think you'll have to make him co-host.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Timothy, go ahead. You just muted yourself.
One more time.
Timothy, unmute.
Just click once on the mic. No,
You're
something's,
probably clicking too fast.
yeah.
Slowly, one click. One click, not two. Okay, anybody who wants to speak,
Yeah.
just
Baba, I see you with your hand up. Go ahead, please, unmute your mic.
yes.
Dr. Shadnan, you as well. Just one click on your mic, please, to unmute. Okay, there we go.
Okay, and my camera also. Yes. Hi, hello everyone. It is a very interesting subject where I can show you my own OCI card. Can you see that? And I can tell you about how you can gain it. It was within 2 months I got this, but when they sent to me, I was in India and I wanted to open a bank account. And they are asking, okay, go on. We are open an account for you in the name of PIO. I said, no, sir, PIO is not anymore. It is OCI. What is OCI? This bank, they do not know. So they didn't do that. So now I'm going in September end, and I'm taking this OCI card to be able to open my bank account. You need this, and it is nothing more than a lifetime visa. And as the colleague in Trinidad told us, you can do a lot of things more than you are a tourist of something like with the POE status. This was needed to get the function of CO of glass. Without it was not possible. Without this, I can have my master class to the universities, and exactly you cannot be voted and you cannot vote, and I think you cannot apply for a job as a governmental officer. I think that is also not possible, but you can do everything. Okay. I think that it was better for us, the Girmitia descendants, was suitable for us. That was the PIO. We are persons of Indian original, but we are not Indian citizens. And OCI, if you can read that, and a lady explained that, the second speaker, it is nothing more than a card for citizens of Indian. I can tell you I'm not an Indian. When I need something for the embassy, then I have to go to my Dutch embassy because I am a Dutch citizen. You know, this is just a thing, a legal thing, to an academic discussion to talk about. But it is a very good thing. I can tell you can get this, but you have to pay a lot of money, at least 200 US dollars, something like that. And within 2 months you can have it, and you can apply this on your own embassy in Trinidad or Africa or whatever. So we have to talk about the name, because I am telling every time, we are not Indians. Also, we are not diaspora. We are Girmitia communities, citizens of something like that, you know. So this is my my discussion. Until today, everyone is talking about diaspora. We are not diaspora. Diaspora are the persons who are Indians working here in Dutch. I am living in Dutch. I am a Dutchman with the Indian original. That is the difference. So if we want to fight for our identity, because the Indians from India, you will see they will discriminate you when they know you are not a real Indian. I have a lot of experience. Whenever you are a professor of something, if they know, oh, this is a Girmitia child, then they go and find their own Indian brothers. So we have to fight for our own national identity. And I think persons like Ashok Ramsaran understand what I'm telling. This is a starting discussion just to claim that we are not Indians, but we are rooted and our origin is Indian, and that is bonding us together. I am a Suriname, the other is African, you are Trinidad citizen, and one thing what is bonding us is our Indian original. Thank you for this discussion.
Sure, but Dr. Shadanan, before you go, can you tell us of what benefit is that card in your ancestral birthplace, Madhubani?
Ancestral, pardon? No,
In your ancestral birthplace in Madhubani?
No, it is not Madhubani. My office, that is Global Girmitia Lineage and Archive Center, we opened that this year in March, just to help people that they can find their lineage. Because I can tell you, in the immigrant pass, you will not find the number, the postcode number of your village. For example, if you are looking for Raghunathpur, or you are looking for Nevada in Chapra, etc., then when it's only one Nevada in the immigration pass, but that you are going to find, they will tell you, oh sir, which Nevada you want. Then you have to tell them what is your jat. I am a Rajput. Then they brought me to 8 Nevadas. To 8 Nevadas where Rajputs were living in Chapra. The same has happened to a colleague in Raghunathpur. There is not only one Raghunathpur, there are 3 or more than that. So, and I have researched, and my conclusion is, it was a British policy for not registering the right address, because they didn't want that the descendants, when the contract was ended of their parents, the descendants they will not go back, they cannot go back to the roots. These are my suggestions, but I have to research this thing scientifically. I'm answering your question or not? But it is in Chapra, it is not in Madhubani. Madhubani is the office. Madhubani is a district, just like Chapra district, just as Sitamarhi district, you know, Bihar has at least 100 districts.
Right.
Very
So my
different.
question really has to do with whether or not that card is of benefit to you
Not to
in the
find.
village
Oh,
in
no,
Chagra.
no. Only you can do everything. I could sign a share contract with this because I've taken a share on a apartment and I could not buy the apartment, but I've taken share. But without the OCI, you cannot do no one business. But without this, I could. That is the benefits of these cards. And you
Excellent.
have
So it's
more.
highly recommended.
Yes. Pardon?
So it's highly recommended.
Yes, it's highly recommend. You know, when you are or your family somewhere are in India, and sorry, it died. Go with holidays, and you know, Papa died or Mama died. Then it take a lot of time to get a visa. But with this OCI card, you can go to the next day, find your flight and go. This is one of the benefits. I can recommend this. Take it. It costs you a money, $300 maybe, and you have to wait for 2 months, and you will have it. And this time is the first time I'm going to apply this.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is Dr. Timothy available?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you now. Go ahead, please.
You
Should I
can
put
turn on
the
your
vid-
video. He can turn on his video if he wants.
That's going to take another story.
No
Okay.
problem. Just continue, please.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Eubulus Timothy. I live in Durban, but I had a very checkered life in the sense that I also lived for 7 years in a little village in India where I studied, and so I do understand. As long as I am a South African, I am known as what you call foreign or foreign. And they'll always look at me as a foreigner. But the point of the matter, getting the OCI card, it does help because if you're traveling to India, it makes life easy if you need to do things. I did it online. It was the people at the Durban Indian high consulate here was very, very helpful, and I did everything online. There was very simple things that they wanted, and they wanted my birth certificate, and then my mother's birth certificate, because on that birth certificate it had my grandfather's number, which was his number. That was his colonial number, and we managed to get a copy of the ship's list of Indian immigrants from the Durban Archives repository, and on it has the ship name, which is Mkuzi. The date of arrival is 1910 September. His colonial number, his name of the immigrant, Gadela Jesuk, meaning Joseph. His father's name. His age was 9. The sex was boy. Caste was Christian. While his height was 0. And the Zilla was Guntur. I've been there and I've met my family in Guntur. The Tana was Vendukunda, and the village was Gokokonda. And then, of course, his employer was Armstrong. So all the information was given literally. My father went in and got it. I think it took him a couple of weeks. And that paper certified with my mother's birth certificate and my birth certificate to show the line was submitted online through the website with a picture, signed picture, and they ask you to sign it in a very specific way. And then the form is very simple. They wanted your name, your surname, your father's name, your mother's name, your spouse's name, passport details, and then the second part was the have anyone applied for the OCI, and whether you sought asylum before, or you're a citizen of Pakistan or Bangladesh, or either parents, grandparents had ever been citizens of Pakistan or Bangladesh. That seems to be quite important, and about the military, intelligence and security police. And then they wanted my name and criminal details, if any, and then you sign it, and that was sent, and that was it. So the system worked, and I think it was within 2 months I got it. And pity I can't show you with my camera, but yeah, I'm holding it in my hand.
Very good. So, Dr. Timothy, how much did it cost you?
I
Don't
can't
mind my
quite
asking.
remember, but it wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't a lot of money. And, you know, I can't quite remember. I don't know whether anybody else could remember. It wasn't in 2016. It was issued in February 2016. It was issued, and it wasn't a lot of money, and it's for life. And at the back of it, it's got your, you know, my parents' details as well, life visa, lifetime visa, it just makes life easy when you're traveling to India. So, you know, when I went with my family, my kids and my then wife, we had quite simple access without any problems because the kids could see, they could see from the kids' information that they were my children, and that's it, you know. So my great grandchildren also will be able to get it, and it keeps going now because of me having it, you know. So it's quite simple, as long as you can show the through line.
Right. Okay, thank you very much for sharing that. I'm going to ask Salvan Naidu. Salvan, are you here? Salvan, I see your post on the chat. Would you mind unmuting, please, and sharing that information?
Hi, Sharima. I'm not going to turn on my video. I'm watching the US Open, and it's quite late in South Africa, and I also don't have my makeup on like you.
Oh,
But
sure.
I just want to say that there's very few applications to warrant a petition being written in South Africa. I suspect a lot of it has to do with the prohibitive cost at around 5,000 rand, and also the tracing of the routes can become expensive when people are employing, private people for searching of those things and so on. I suspect, some of the issues that could be not necessarily petitioned, but asked to be waived is, for example, what generation is the application being made for. So, for example, in South Africa, we allowed only to apply up to generation 4, I think it is. And so there within lies some of those problems. So it could be extended. I know that in various parts, the generation is far higher in some countries than in others. So I think that is something that needs to be a little bit more consistent across the board, across the countries and so on. So I've liaised with the HOC in Durban and the Indian consulate. And at present, the answer that I've got back, and I've liaised as part of the 1860 Heritage Center, that the number of applications at the moment is not high enough. So, obviously, if there's a demand for it in terms of extending which generation, in other words, fourth generation, fifth generation, then there would be a need to consider it. But at the moment, there's not a high application rate in South Africa.
So do you think sensitization is required?
Sorry?
Do you think sensitization is required to up those numbers?
Look, I mean, very many people are applying at the moment. There's many more people searching for their routes to apply. But I still don't think that the numbers are high enough in terms of extending it beyond fifth generation, sixth generation, and so on. If the applications are high enough, then it would warrant more consideration around it. But at this stage, just by liaising with the Indian government here in South Africa, there's not a high percentage of applications.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope you enjoy the game.
No, Sinner's not doing too well, so I'm wanting Sinner to win it. But anyway.
Oh, no. Okay. So Ashwini Rajpal, go ahead, please.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I would like to add that I was born in Guyana, but I now live in Canada. and I have an OCI card, and I obtained that here in Canada. I've been helping other people also to get their OCI, and part of the problem I see, and I think the Indian government has to address this, is that in developed countries like Canada, America, Netherlands, and places like that, the Indian consulates and the Indian High Commission, they have agents that handle these OCI applications. And the people that are employed in these by these agencies, they have no idea of our history. And when you show them the documents, even though you have certified documents, they don't want to accept it. So, and I can give you an example. I helped a Guyanese gentleman who lives in Costa Rica to get his documents certified, and when he presented those documents, they weren't being accepted by the local Indian consulate in Panama. So fortunately, he met one of the Indian officers at a social event, and he contacted her and explained what's going on. And because of that contact, he was able to get his OCI. So some sort of pressure has to be put on the Indian government to address this condition. As far as I know, in Trinidad and Guyana and in places like that, the applications go directly to the Indian High Commission or the Indian Consulate, so they understand the history, so they are not given such a hard time in getting their OCI. And that's my little contribution today. Thank you.
And we greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. So now we know if there are people in Canada who need to get that card, we'll just connect them with you. Is that okay?
Yeah, not only in Canada, anywhere else, because as I help people around the world to get a. And one other thing I want to mention, Dr. Kumar Mahabir and I have a mutual friend in Australia. He was a former policeman, and people who were policemen or army people, they are not qualified to get OCI. In this case, this friend, his brothers got their OCI, but he was not able to get his OCI. So I thought I'd add that on.
Yeah, that's a very important point. Thank you very much for that.
Okay.
Mr. Krishna Pariachi, go ahead, please.
Yes, good afternoon. I have a question about, this is really directed to the South Africans on this particular program. I no longer have a South African passport, although I was born there and I live in another country. And the issue I have is that essentially I have two birth certificates coming from two different states in South Africa. One was when South Africa was originally the Republic of South Africa, or I can't remember now, but it says my race is Indian. And then the other one was with respect to a abridged birth certificate that everyone has, and I suppose everyone currently in South Africa has. It gives my birth date, my parents' names, etc. Now, the question I have is, when one submits a petition to the Indian consulate, does one provide both pieces of documentation together with proof of your grandparents, etc., their birth, etc.?
A very interesting question. And at this point in time, I'm not too sure that we can get a response for you. I think Nash is saying no. The persons who may be able, Dr. Timothy, are you able to share anything?
It's normally you need an unabridged birth certificate. You gotta apply for that, and that gives you the details of your parents and all their details as well. So that's what you require, and that is available even today. We get it for all the kids and for everybody. Otherwise, you get the normal birth certificate, which is a very small one. And the reason why, because of your parents, and you want to show the lineage. If you want an unabridged birth certificate, but you have to apply for that separately at Home Office.
Okay.
Which
Well,
is another story, or maybe your banks, some of the banks offer some sort of Home Office facilities like passports and things like that as well.
I see. Okay, thanks very much. One of the other things with regards to that certificate, unabridged certificate, I've tried to obtain one through the the South African consulate, I think, but I've been waiting for over a couple of years now for that to arrive. When I constantly call them up to ask for it, they say, "Oh, it's probably in some diplomatic baggage somewhere in the world, and they have to, it's going to make its way eventually." So I wanted to know if there is a faster way to obtain this unabridged birth certificate. Do I have to come to South Africa to do it?
We do have a problem with our home affairs, and it does take time. And for all sorts of reasons. But yes, it does take time. You have to keep putting pressure on your consulate. When I was in Los Angeles, I was very fortunate that they did it very, very fast when my son was born in LA, and they sorted everything out. But that's it just depends, and you may have to literally go to your consulate and put pressure on them.
Okay.
That's the only way. But when it comes here, it's going to take time. It's going to take time. That's why I said maybe a bank, one of your banks. I do know they offer some sort of home affairs facilities at some of the banks. I think Standard Bank is one, which I don't use, but I do know they do. Mine doesn't. Okay.
I see. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Salvan, you're unmuted.
Yeah, I'm just wanting to know whether the gentleman's wishing to trace his roots. Because if you're wishing to trace your roots, the archives is based at the 1860 Heritage Center. That gives you the official document, which is then processed to the Indian consulate. So we have individuals working there at the moment. So I suspect in this instance, it's a situation of being able to trace your roots. I know you're looking for the unabridged and so on, but the surnames which in which you're able to trace the marriage certificate, which has got all the numbers, is possibly a clue to be able to give you the ship's list, which will then be able to be processed. The ship's list number is the critical information that you need for processing of the OCI, which will then be submitted to the Indian consulate in Durban. But to do that, you need the official document that comes from the archives department here in Durban. And that archives department is now based at the 1860 Heritage Center because their offices have since closed. They've moved some of their staff at the 1860 Heritage Center at the moment. So it may be a good thing if you send your details to me. I'll write down my email address, and I think grandparents' names and dates of birth will possibly give us a lead, but I must alert you, In some instances, those were found pretty quickly, and in some instances, it takes a little bit of time. But if you are able to do that, then we'd certainly be able to help.
Okay, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, great. And Mr. Padiachi, if you need it, we can always connect you with Mr. Naidu at the 1860. Just send us a message, please.
Okay.
Terrific. At this point, I want to ask Suman Kapoor. Suman, you've been asking a question several times. Would you mind unmuting, please, and just ask that question online? And Mr. Yogesh Bond from Reunion, or Babita Bahadur, can you please respond to this question, Suman?
Yes, I'm looking back at the question here. For Mauritius, actually, we have the renewal policy for the OCI card in case it has been damaged or lost, and against a fee. But for, I don't know, abroad, does it, is it the same? Does it apply same?
So Suman Kapoor is in New Zealand.
Okay, and his ancestors, I mean, I don't know.
Can you tell
Is
us what the process is to have it renewed?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Suman, go ahead, please, with your question. Babita, just give her 1 second, please. Suman, go ahead.
Just
Let's hear your
saving time, Babita ji, you are very kind. Saving
Yeah.
time, I already have my OCR card. Lot of discussion is going on that. But what happened that during my travel to India, it got little moist and my photo got, little bit hazy. For
Yeah.
that reason, I mean, now they are saying that you need to go through the whole process as a new OCI card. I said my every document is there, and also I have traveled so many times on that OCI card. That record is there, but going through that process means the full fee and all the documents they want, and things are online. You see, the senior citizens find it little bit hard, to put everything online. They did, they means consulate general did say that, okay, we will provide some help, but you need to do everything. So this is the second stage of each and every one of us. Just with that much of labor, if somebody gets the OCI card and somehow damaged, lost, it's a lengthy process. Why not a fast track can be done? So I wanted to appeal for that. A fast track. If things are right, only for the photograph, somebody authenticated, yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Thank
but
you.
Suman, let me just interrupt you for a second, Babita, before you respond. Suman, where were you born?
India.
Right.
So there was no problem in getting me OCI card. I surrendered my Indian passport. I have a New Zealand passport. However, many of my Fiji friends are also having that. But this condition specifically, I'm focusing. That's why I was asking Ashok also, what should we do? We should represent that for Indian government, that if any damage to that, a drop of water, and first of all, why the quality is so poor.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Babita, do you have a response?
Actually, I'm on the website of the High Commission of India for Mauritius. So in case we want to obtain a duplicate OCI card, the passport of the applicant must be 6 months validity. But I don't know why in Suman's country they have put they need to do the application process once again. And it's a very time-consuming process. And here for Mauritius, we are asking to have a memo or as well from the local police stations stating whether the OCI card is lost, in case it is lost. And if we can get a copy of the OCI card. If Mrs. Suman has a copy of her OCI card, then maybe this can help at the consulate. And also her passport should be valid. And I think there is a fee for Mauritius. We have a very minimum fee to pay for the duplication of this OCI card. And also, in case there are any change in passport number or name, they need to produce the existing OCI card. So the answer from Mauritius, I have this one. And I guess this is one of the challenge that maybe many other OCI holders are facing. And if we can make an appeal to the High Com of India, of that particular country, would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Yes, Mr. Rajpal, you wanted to add something?
Sorry. Yeah, to Mrs. Babita Kapoor's question, I believe you don't have to go through the process again. I think if you go on the OCI website, there is a miscellaneous section, and you can apply. I think you can apply for a replacement card through the miscellaneous section. This is the same section where if you get a new passport, you update your passport number and things like that. So I think that should be our place to go. Thanks.
Okay, terrific. And before you go, the question that we had on the chat, which you were assisting with, I think it's important for us to have that ventilated. So can you just please shed some light in terms of spousal arrangements?
Okay. Yes. Persons who are who already have their OCI, they can sponsor their spouses for an OCI card, and they don't have to produce all the documentation that is normally required. Like the immigration passes and things like that. But you do have to produce your passport, your marriage certificate, and things like that. And it's because my spouse, she applied through that way, and she has our OCI as a sponsor, as my sponsor.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Dr. Shadanand. You need to unmute, please. Yeah, Dr. Shadanand, please unmute. Unmute again. One more time.
Yes, I think this is a casuistic for the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and in our we want to talk with his team, because once you have the documents, then it must be very simple. Maybe I have already my son and my grandson. They do not need the same procedures. These things we have to talk in our meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs in India, and I'm going to make from this subject an issue in glass in our organization in Madhubani. Look, OCI card is not so old, and still we are getting problems. It must to make very easy, And when I was there, everything was right. They did not accept a copy of my OCI card. They said, go to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you can control. No, you have to bring the original. Something like this. I see this is bureaucracy. And about this, we have to talk on a high level with the delegation of Prime Minister Modi.
Indeed.
And I'll make a very the coming months for this issue too.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'm not seeing any further raised hands, and I think we've addressed all the questions on the chat. So at this point in time, I want to say it's been a very, very interesting and informative conversation. Thank you to all our speakers today. Your contributions were excellent, and I really thank you for giving us of your time and your expertise. At this point in time, I want to say thank you very much for being here, and I'll ask Shakira to take over.
Okay,
And Shakir,
yes.
congratulations to President Irfan Ali of Guyana. We are so proud that he has once again been voted into office and took the oath of office today. So congratulations to President Ali. Go ahead, please, Sheikh.
Excellent. Thank you, Shal. So we want to thank everyone for taking the time to attend and to participate. And as we've said earlier, this public meeting is being hosted by the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center. And like today, we often partner with the Amina Ghafoor Institute for the Study of Indentureship and its legacies, led by Professor David Davidine. So please feel free to contact the ICC to publish your books. And remember, we are asking to give your suggestions. If you give a donation, your name will be placed on our poster and all promotional materials, and you can contact Dr. Mahabir for details. Our topic next Sunday will be South Indian culture in the Indian diaspora. So we want to thank our planning team led by Dr. Kumar Mahabir and Shalima Mohammed, to our IT consultants, Daryl Gransam and Navin Mangal, and Daryl again for designing the poster. So please visit, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see all our past recordings. I am Shakira Mohammed of Trinidad and Tobago saying goodbye. May God bless you.
Thank you all for joining and staying so long. We probably have 2 minutes that we can spare. If you have any pressing questions or comments, just raise your hand and we will allow you to speak. Yeah, Dr. Kogi. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Kogi just re-entered the room.
Oh, okay. I have to make a co-host. All right, go ahead. Yes. Yeah. Oh, you have to unmute.
No,
Go ahead.
no, it was very interesting, but I couldn't hear a lot of it because of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was listening on, but I was trying to listen on YouTube.
Right.
No, I was trying to listen on YouTube.